made people open their eyes to what the government's actually...
Indeed. And do you see a lot of what he talks about happening in your town? I mean, the immigration, the influx of immigration. Hey, time for Tommy. I want to congratulate Tommy for winning the Sappho Award for free speech. Well deserved for a good man. And so it seems just had a good little rush of people from the UK over the weekend. One of the first couples of those from Scotland. First couple up. And we get into, I wish I would have gotten into this more. They didn't seem to want to stick around, though, unfortunately. It's a couple from London, or not from London, but from the south of England. The guy actually works as a Border Patrol agent, and the woman worked in one of the camps. I didn't get to ask anything. They split before I could really get into it, but they were once they found out I was a fan of Tommy, they didn't seem like they were really wanted to stick around. So fortunate. And then we get a couple of girls from Bristol who are all about Tommy. And then you got to fall in love with the airline stewardess who works for British Airlines, I tell you. Whew, made me wish I was a younger man, because she was just gorgeous. Yeah, more ways than one. So, a big hello to all my UK fans, subscribers. And let's get into this one. And you know, remember what you do. If you like it, you like it. If you care, you share. And if you can contribute. And I'll catch you on the other side of this, okay? You're familiar with this gentleman?
Yes.
No, who's he?
Toby Robinson. He's just out of jail. He was in jail there for a
Yeah, it was about 2 months ago. They let him out. Yeah. And now they've got another charge against him. They're trying to, like everything, you know, you speak up against the powers that be, and they're going to try to shut you up.
So he's all for British.
Yeah, he's speaking out against the how the influence of the immigration is, you know, changing your culture, and how, you know, how it should be a bit more controlled, you know, rather than have these guys come in and take over the way they are. It seems to me that, you know, I've talked to people from London. They say London isn't London anymore. You know?
Oh no, that's
it's so multicultural. London.
And do you guys have any problem with the immigration up there in Scotland?
We don't have much in the way of immigration. I mean, we do obviously, but not to the extent that what you're talking about. I mean, there's likes of Birmingham, and you know, there's areas that are just completely Muslim areas now. I remember watching a video a good 5, maybe 10 years ago, and it was about obviously the Muslim faith and the likes of families, and the fact that they don't have just 1 or 2 children. They would have 3, 4, 5, 6. And how obviously when you broke it down, it was actually comparing Germany and the likes of the fact that they were looking at a typical German family who were actually now just heading to 1 child rather than typical would always be having 2 children. But when you went down and they were doing it over a 20-year scale, and they were basically saying the likes of, you know, there's no doubt that we will become a Muslim country before long because of the way that the families, and that will be worldwide. That will be worldwide, because they were looking at the time it was Germany and various places in Europe, but it was all to do with just simple fact that as Europeans, 1 or 2 children is the norm, whereas obviously in their culture, you know, they feel that large families.
And politically, they are very aware and astute of that, and they are imams and their leaders that said, we will take you over just for that fact.
Yes, that absolutely. I mean, maybe not in our lifetime, but certainly eventually Britain will be a Muslim, or Europe will be. Yeah, all of Europe.
If obviously things don't.
But it never will. It never will, because we're not in the, you know, we don't breed 4 and 5 kids.
But then what happens? Will they start tearing down the churches and start tearing down the monuments and the culture?
I don't think they'll do that, but they'll have.
They've done it in other places.
Yeah, but they'll have to have more mosques and more, the likes of more of what they need than rather than what we need.
But that's what the man was obviously asking about, the likes of Tommy Robinson there.
Yeah,
he's saying, his argument is, why do we need to build more mosques? Because if, like I say, if I moved to somewhere that was a Muslim country, they wouldn't build a Christian church for me.
No.
You can't go to Saudi Arabia and start a Christian church.
No.
That ain't going to happen.
No.
So that's obviously what his agenda is. We need to scale it and keep accommodating, because it wouldn't happen if we went elsewhere. Like some Christian faith or whatever.
It's the absolutism that, the radical absolutism in the Muslim culture that's scary. I mean, because, once they take over, it's like you Christians become second-class citizens. What part of England are you from?
Well, we can see France from where we live. It's not far from Dover.
It's very nice, very nice. And what do you do there? What do you do in...
I'm a border force officer. I work out of northern France.
Really?
Because we have our controls in Calais and Dunkirk.
Indeed.
And I'm one of the county councillors.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you just had an election over there?
We have, and my man won, so I'm pleased.
Amen to that. Yes, they seem to be going in the right direction. It seems
Hallelujah,
like.
yes. We've had a difficult few years, but we're all happy now. Yeah. We got rid of the ones who wouldn't do as they were told.
And I'm sure you're familiar with this gentleman?
I'm not that keen on him. It's not his real name. And he went to jail because he reported on a case which he shouldn't have, and it could have undermined the conviction of some very bad people. So,
well, that's how they reported it, but I don't think that's how it actually came out.
Well, anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And,
all right.
We're going to go and get a drink now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice
pleasure. Enjoy it.
Okay.
What part of England are you from?
She's got one in it. Bristol. Oh, Tommy Robinson.
There you go. So you're familiar with Tommy? That's what I was going to ask you, if you're familiar with Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, we are.
And
you like him? You like him?
That's how I promote him, absolutely. Yeah? And what do you think of him?
Yeah, we like him. Very good man. Yeah, good man.
Good.
He's banned in England now on all social media. You don't really hear from him.
Someone emailed me the other day that he just won an award, the prestigious award, the highest award you can get for free speech, for promoting free speech.
Yeah. See, in England, there's a lot of support for Tommy Robinson, but the papers and everything don't show that.
Right.
There's loads and loads of groups. When he was locked up, wasn't he, not long ago?
Right.
For reporting on something that was already in the paper anyway, and the protests in London to get him out was unbelievable. But no one's seen it on the telly because they don't air it. Well, but he got a lot of support in England.
Well, your media is a lot like ours. It's very biased and very, they don't, like here, they don't report on the good things that Trump does.
No, he gives a lot of his money to charities and all that. They don't tell you none of that.
Yeah, but Tommy Robinson, I'm just a big fan. Anybody that speaks truth to power like he has and gets persecuted like he has, you got to stand up for him.
He's made people open their eyes to what the government's actually...
Indeed. And do you see a lot of what he talks about happening in your town? I mean, the immigration, the influx of immigration. How has it affected you? Has it affected your lives any at all with the immigration? And
yeah, well, you go to London now. You could be anywhere. You're not in London no more.
Yeah.
There's the London accent's dying out. It's not. But I think now Boris Johnson's Prime Minister. He wants to do an Australian points-based system. And I do think they will sort it out. I do think with, especially if Trump wins the next election over here, I think together they'll be a very good force.
Well, there certainly seems to be a pushback. I mean, Boris got in. You've got Brexit now that's finally solidified.
We've got about 12 days, 13 days till we come out, I think.
Good. Good.
But since... Once Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister, once he won the election a couple of weeks ago, the pound surged. The dollar to the pound now, I think, is 1.32 in England. It's the highest it's been in years. And the euro is 1.17, which that's the highest it's been in about 3 years.
Yeah, it's good. And then I saw, I think it was even today or maybe yesterday, where Trump and Boris are going to get together and sign a trade deal.
Yeah.
That's in the works. So they're getting to do that, real soon. So the liberals want to do away with all this.
Things can only get better.
Amen to that. God bless you. You're familiar with Mr. Robinson?
Tommy Robinson,
Yes. What do you think, Mr. Robinson?
He wouldn't match my values. Tommy Robinson wouldn't.
Really? The women from Bristol are all for him because they said he's trying to save England.
Yeah.
And he's,
It's a bit extreme, though.
Well, I think what's happening to England is pretty extreme.
Well, it is. We're in the right pickle, aren't we?
I mean, you've got the info. I mean, they were talking about how London is hardly even London anymore.
No. Yeah, there's something's gone wrong. Something's gone badly wrong.
Well, that's what Tommy Robinson is bringing up.
I don't know what he's going to do.
Well, he's certainly making people aware of the fact that things have gone badly wrong.
Yeah, but he's not in an influential place to do anything about it.
Well, he tried to be. I mean, it's certainly, what are you supposed to do when the government is against you?
Yeah.
What can you do? I mean, he's speaking up, and every time he spoke up, what they do? Throw him in jail?
Yeah.
For what? Speaking up? I mean, you threw him in jail for journalism. It's like them coming along right now throwing me in jail for me being out here doing this.
Yeah. I don't know if Tommy Robinson's been thrown in jail.
Sure he was. He was out there speaking in front of a courthouse about a Muslim child group rape ring.
Okay.
And on the sidewalk. And the police came along and said, Tommy, get in the back of this lorry.
Yeah.
4 hours later, in jail for 13 months. Now, the uproar against that even reached our president. He sent our ambassador and says, this ain't right. And they let him out after 3 months, and he got out. He was lost 45 pounds.
Yeah.
They had him in solitary confinement. He couldn't eat food because they were poisoning the food. He was eating canned tuna every day. So, I mean, you torture a man for being out on the street, trying to protect your people from Muslim group rape rings?
Yeah, it just depends what he was saying, wasn't it? It depends.
All he was doing was reporting on a report that was already reported on. He was reporting on a report that was already reported on.
Yeah, we're all really aware of the Muslim rape rings that were going on, and it's still going on now, actually, and there's a lot of young people haven't been believed when they've reported it. It's constant on the news. There's documentaries about it, people speaking up, saying, we've been telling people.
Tommy Robinson was one of the first people to do that.
But it's just, you've got to appeal to the masses, haven't you, if you want to get in government, and unfortunately, Boris Johnson has just appealed to the masses, and he's done something right because he has turned people who have been Labour voters through and through. You had people on the news saying my parents would turn in their grave if they knew I'd voted Conservative. Something went badly wrong that people up north who are true Labours, your ex-miners and everything, voted Conservative.
Yeah, well,
what a shock. They were looking for a message, and Boris Johnson has obviously delivered that message.
Indeed.
But obviously it's more to do about coming out of Europe.
Well, I think it's the same thing that's happened over here and several other places. The left, or the Liberals, are no longer liberal. They're so far left, they've turned communist.
Right, yeah, that's right.
And
Mum and Dad were saying, weren't they?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I talk to people out here on a daily basis that were former liberals, but they can't go to Bernie Sanders. No. They can't go to these, you know, and they talk about like open borders, which is, you know, what you have the left over there, where you have the con and you know, saying, yeah, we need more immigrants. No, you don't. You have a problem already with them.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens now. I don't know when we get home whether we'll be still in the EU or out of the EU. We've already missed 2 deadlines for it, so...
Well, let's hope they finally listen to the people. I mean, the people voted for it.
They did.
They would, you know...
That was very close, though. 48... 52.
Well, you know, close only matters with hand grenades. You know, once the thing's voted on and it's passed, you go with it. I mean, that's what the people wanted.
I voted to stay in.
Yeah, well, again, the majority of the people did.
No, it's bloody annoying though.
Well, that's tough. I mean, you know,
I tell you what,
get over it.
It's a major decision. People didn't even know what they were voting on. People didn't have a clue.
Well, you know, here's my problem with this whole EU thing. The push for a one world government is increments. In other words, you need to do it in increments. You can't do it all at once.
No.
So the powers that be will form economic blocs. The EU, the North American Union, to go ahead and centralize power that's removed from us.
Yeah.
So when you got the EU, you're not having a say.
No.
It's the centralized powers. It's more into corporations.
Went too far.
That's what they're going. That's what the push was.
Maybe it'd be good to be out of it. It's not what people thought they were signing up for when we signed up for the common market. It was sold differently to the public.
Because they lie to
I know, everybody lies though.
Yeah, but not to the point to push you into a one world government. I mean, a one world government means we have no power at all. The closer you are to your government, the more it gets down to a localized level, the more power you have. That's why being in an EU isn't worth it, because you're removed from the power central then. But when you have a nationalized government or a more localized government, you have more say. They give you more power. This is what the thing was. So you can't be for something that's going to, reduce your say in how your life is run.
Split families and caused no end of argument.
Well, that didn't start with that. Well, there's always going to be arguments, but the best argument wins. And my argument would be that you want to be closer to the power central government or to your government than have one that's removed from you. You're just sitting here agreeing with me that that's right.
I know, but it was nice to feel we were European, part of Europe. It depends how you feel about how protected you feel about your country.
It's not about feelings. It's about who controls your life. Your feelings really, I mean, it's nice to have that, kumbaya, we're all part of the, let's all have a Coke and drink, kumbaya, live together. That's now how it works.
We're all stuffed anyway. We're all in the shit anyway.
Yes, but can we be in this shit and more in control of the shit we're in control of?
It doesn't make any difference. I think we've gone past the point of no return.
Well, obviously it does make a difference because Boris is in. There is a pushback against the centralization of power.
Yeah, well,
so it obviously does make a difference.
a buffoon.
Who?
Boris Johnson.
Well, you're going to just have to live with that buffoon, aren't you? Just like when you live with Trump, and all the sorry liberals here can go, and in the meantime, the stock market rises, and those ladies from London just tell me how the pound has just gotten stronger, and we're about ready to have a trade deal.
I'm going to go find them ladies, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to start singing Kumbaya.
What airlines do you...
British Airways.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah?
Pretty big plane.
I like my job, I don't like the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're familiar with this gentleman here?
Yeah. Is he in prison now?
No, they let him out. They let him out about 2 months ago or more. He just got an award, and it was for championing of free speech.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on Mr. Robinson? Do you have any...
I don't think I know. I mean, I know who he is. I know he's been to prison a few times, but...
I'd be proud of him if I were Brit. I mean, he's speaking truth to power. He's speaking up for the British people against the destruction of your culture and whatnot, you know, from the influx of immigration that's coming in. And how it's making it unsafe for women to walk the streets, and, you know, the Muslim group child rape rings that are going down, and things like that. So, you know, and of course, because he embarrasses the authorities because they're not doing anything, you know, they go against him. You know, so that's how he got thrown in prison, because he was just reporting about it. And you can't report about that, Tommy.
Exactly. So you think you'll get back in?
Oh
yeah. I think so.
Yeah, there's nobody running against him.
I was going to say, who else is there? I can't name you anyone.
I mean, you know, collectively the Democrats don't have the IQ of room temperature. I mean, they don't, you know. The same thing everywhere. The powers that be, you know, try to control us, and then, you know, we push back, and we put someone in that hopefully speaks for us, and, you know.
That's what just happened in England. You saw what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was obvious. It was funny, because I come to America a lot. I think the thing is with America, for the rest of the world, they present America like it's California and New York.
Right.
That's all it's all you ever hear. Opinions of film stars. And opinions of like people, you know, they present it. I remember once seeing a passenger of a t-shirt. It was the outline of America, and it had New York, California, and in the middle it said NISC. And I thought, that's it. And you can't, and the same thing's happened in England. They've ignored the North for so long. You know, you can't do that to people. Like, so it was obvious he was going to get in. But with America, because it's so big, the middle bit really matters, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, it really matters. They are what make America, like, American. When I took one of my friends on a trip recently, she really wants to go to New York. I said, the trouble with New York is, like, it's a great city, don't get me wrong, but you won't really hear English being spoken. You won't meet Americans. Like, it's like London, and London's the same. So I took her to Philadelphia, because Philadelphia's still got, like, you feel like you're in America. Like, you can go and, you know, you see all those things, like any country. When you go to any country, you want to see what that country's about. Like, London and New York are just like landmarks now. You know, they've just got like Central Park, Hyde Park, Big Ben, Empire State. But the culture of them is like, they're just like Starbucks, Gap, like losing their identity. It's a shame. We've had cases in the UK about, I think it's more in like Ireland, about people not wanting to bake cakes for, you know, like it comes, it's such a different, like, I just think it's like when you travel as much as I do, you like I used to come to America when I was a kid. My dad loved it. Like, it's like you like America, like you're famous for your, like being really like the service and all that. And it's cool. Like everyone's famous for something, isn't it? You know. And when it all just goes, you know, when I said to my friend about coming to New York, we can see all the landmarks, but you're not going to feel like you're in America. Like you won't get but Philadelphia and other smaller cities, you still feel American. You know what I mean? Yes. People, you know, because it is so now. If basically these days, to
to make yourself good, all you've got to say is you don't like Donald Trump and you was against Brexit and then you're an angel. But if you say, well, do you know what, hang on, like, you can't just damn a whole nation of people as if like they did to us. I said, no, I've been there, I've seen it. I was in Mesa, in Phoenix, in Arizona, just before, like when they was doing the, and you could see how, like, that town was like a shadow of itself, you know, and I think he's made people wealthy again, you know, poorer people. He sort of levelled the playing field, didn't he? It's not all about just rich people. I think he's helped the real people, you know. So
I was trying to explain this couple from London that they voted to stay in the UK or to stay in to get out of Brexit and stay.
They wanted to be European.
They wanted to be European. Yeah, and I was trying to explain to them how that actually takes away from their power, because you're centralizing power and you have no say over who governs you then.
Yeah, exactly. My friend, I've got a French friend, I used to work for Emirates airline.
Yes.
So I've got a French friend, she said, we talk about it, and she says if they had to vote tomorrow in France, they'd leave as well. You know, that's the reality of it. None of the other countries want to have the vote, because they know what's going to happen. You have the vote in Germany, go on, have it in France, have it in Italy. They'll all say no. Like, they'll all say they want out, because it just doesn't work anymore. Right, so
God bless you for being, for having the knowledge you have. So, makes me want to take an airline flight to the British Airlines just to see if I can run into that gorgeous example of a human being. I got a kick out of those girls from Bristol too. They're kicking the pants. Oh, a couple from London, that poor woman. Ugh. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by. You know what you do. You hit the like button. Share it. Contribute. Pray for me. I need that more than anything. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the streets.